I rely on the people who fix my furnace, my heat pump, my refrigerator. I rely on farmers in Colombia and Ethiopia and Brazil. I rely on my wife to sanity check my weirdest ideas. I rely on the local soil and water conservation district to help me figure out my pasture plans. The older I get, the more independence feels like a myth we tell young men to make them feel strong. I don't want to be independent. I want to be dependable. I want to be part of a mycorrhizal web that holds us all up. I'm Nick Walton. I'm a coffee roaster. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a wee farmer, and I can't stop thinking about the invisible scripts that run our lives. You're listening to The Values Sort. This is a field guide to the values that shape the patterns of thinking and behaviors that end up shaping our entire lives. This is essay number 22, Independence. Let's get into it. Do I have a value for independence? Look, I hate to make this a trilogy, but I gotta build on the last two, freedom and choice of own goals. We have established that I value freedom and agency, but when I pull this card, independence, I find myself pausing. I guess my question is, what the heck is independence even good for? What's it used for? You can't live in it. It feels like a myth to me. Are you a mountain man? Are you a recluse, living in a cave-hovel? Are you a holy woman, living out her days in a hermitage, tucked away in a corner of obscurity? Who among us can even comprehend true independence anyway? I read about a family in deepest Russia who had had a belly full of society and they moved, right and properly, out to the woods. They were called the Lykov family. They're my best guess as to how true independence works. They fled into the Siberian wilderness to practice their religious beliefs without interference. They achieved near total independence. And the result? They essentially starved to death. The mother died of starvation to save the children. The sons died of illness because they had no medicine. The lone survivor, Agafia, eventually had to accept help from geologists and the very world they tried to escape just to stay alive. Independence cost the Lykov family everything. I paused to think of Independence Day, the day we Americans celebrate independence from Britain. We claimed to be self-sufficient, self-reliant as a young nation. We'd had enough of being taxed without representation, so we declared independence. But in that independence, did we not discover newer and higher levels of interdependence? Wasn't the issue ultimately not King George in particular, but our devastating voicelessness in the relationship? Perhaps this is an oversimplification of the facts, but think as I may, I can't find a way for independence to be a virtuous value today in the face of so much loneliness and isolation in the world. This may be among the most objectionable cards in the deck for me, because I see the people who value their independence above all else, and it always seems to come at a great cost to themselves and others. It always seems to come from a place of fear, and it's difficult for me to square that up with my chief value, a value not found in the deck, kindness. My own foray into independence, thankfully, lasted a very short time, and I was not really that independent anyway. When I was 17, I moved out of my parents' home, off the farm where I'd grown up. It was time, it was decided, for me to be a man, to grow strong and independent. It was time for me to stretch my wings, and hopefully, time for me to fly away. I slept in my car. I slept at friends' houses. I moved in with the son of a childhood babysitter. 3 of us lived in the house, and we all worked on a grass seed farm. One guy, the babysitter's son, was the farm foreman. He oversaw the whole operation. He was strong and he was independent. I don't remember him dating the entire time I lived there. He ate steak pretty much every night. He was kind and friendly enough, but he was distant and distracted and did not show an interest in me personally. This was an example of independence to me. Steak and silence. The other guy who lived with us was a whole nother level. He and his dog split the year into quarters. For one season, he fished commercially in Alaska. Another season, he spent farming grass seed here in the Willamette Valley. He spent a third season commercially fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. And the fourth season, he laid on the beach and engaged in all manner of debauchery and spent the totality of his erstwhile earnings. He was mean. He was cruel to women. He was ugly in his words. He was as much an island as any person I've ever known. He drove his pickup truck from Alaska to Louisiana and back every year, stopping off in Oregon, but his dog was with him all the time. The dog sat on the beach and drank beer with him for 3 months every year. The dog rode around in farm implements with him. The dog had its sea legs. It knew how to behave on a fishing boat. The dog slept with him and went to the bathroom with him. Even he wasn't independent when it came to the dog. I, for my part, tried my hand at independence as well. With roommates like these, it was relatively easy to get my hands on quite a bit of cheap garbage beer, as much as I could drink, and so that became the staple of my diet. That and off-brand Lucky Charms. I think they were called Marshmallow Mateys. Nothing says I'm a grown-up now like Marshmallow Mateys and the champagne of beers. And Totino's pizzas. I'd buy 2 of them in the morning first thing and throw them unwrapped on the hood of my car on the way to the warehouse. And by noon they were hot and covered with bugs, and I ate them, because I was nasty. My job was sacking seed for 12 hours each day. Trucks would roll in and dump seed down into a grate over a big hopper in the driveway, and the seed would be conveyed up to the top of a series of seed cleaning apparatus. The seed would gravity feed back down the building, cycling through various machines designed to clean and separate weed seeds, etc., until it finally landed in the bagging machine where I stood, filling sacks and stacking them on pallets. It was long, dusty, hot, mind-numbingly boring, miserable work. But the worst part of it was the loneliness. Because when you get up at 5:15 to go to work at 6 in the morning, and you sack seed for 12 hours, and then you get home at 6:15 and gorge yourself on garbage, and pour yourself into bed, and then when the morning light comes streaming in, you get up and do it again, you lose yourself in the loneliness. And I did. But eventually the summer ended. I escaped that season. I bounced around some more, and eventually I landed with my friends, the ones I stole $250 from. More on that later. And their home was more than a spot to land, though that's what I was accustomed to, and for a while that's what I tried to make of it. It was a home, a family, and I wasn't alone anymore, and I wasn't independent, and I began to live. We need each other, and more than that, we are fools not to want one another. We're better together. We're better in pairs, in groups, in community. We're better when we're able to go through life circled up like lady elephants. Recently, a friend sent me an article about how female elephants protect one another. When a female is giving birth or suffering an injury, the others will circle up around her. They face outward, creating a wall of protection, while the vulnerable one rests in the center. It was beautiful, and it was a picture of community that I'm carrying forward with me. I don't know what else to say about independence. Am I functionally independent? Yes, I am self-sufficient to a degree, I suppose. But I see that independence is a liability more than an asset most of the time. In a cultural moment that values the one over the many, I'm wary of the person who wants to stand alone. I'd rather be in the circle.